Hey everybody, it's me, Crazyfrankie, and I'd like to welcome you to my Week 14 NFL 4 key game picks. Quickly, let's get into the playoff picture before we talk about Week 14. Until then, let's take a look now at the AFC standings as of right now. Because of recent losses by the Patriots and some teams here, the Bengals now have moved into the 1 seed. Denver now has moved to the 2 seed. The Patriots now dropped to the 3 seed. The Colts are still the 4th seed. The Kansas City Chiefs still clinging on to the 5th seed. And the New York Jets now have moved into the 6th and final playoff spot. There's other teams that are still behind them. I know the Pittsburgh Steelers are not far behind them. And pretty much that is basically it right now. The Steelers are the only team I consider now to be still the team higher in the contention in the conference right now. And let's go into the NFC. The Panthers are still the 1 seed. The Cardinals are still the 2nd seed. The Packers now move back to the 3rd seed. They're now leading the NFC North Division via Minnesota losing last Sunday. Redskins are still clinging on to the 4th seed at the moment right now. The Vikings are the 5th seed, and the Seahawks now have moved into the 6th seed. All right. Short thoughts on week number 13. Now, a lot of things I would consider, what a week it was. You had the Green Bay Packers on the Hail Mary beating the Lions at the very last second. And also you had the Patriots losing their 2nd consecutive game, which was the game was really a shocker that they lost to the Eagles, but it's obviously injuries have caught up with the Patriots right now, and they are in danger now of falling further behind in the AFC conference, as well as with the Bengals and the Broncos now moving into the top the top seed in the conference. It's going to be very interesting to see down the stretch if both these teams can keep the Patriots from getting a bye and having them forced to play a wild card game. Well, I look at the rest of it right now. It's pretty tight race going on in the AFC. You got the Steelers, the Bills, the Texans, the Raiders, and the Dolphins that are still within striking distance of trying to fight for a playoff berth. As if you look in the NFC right now, Panthers are still undefeated in a very, very tough game they played against the Saints on Sunday, as they were able to hang on and beat them. It was a very entertaining game, I will admit that. A great game. If you missed that game, boy, you really should go watch the highlights on that one. That was really a great game here. And I think it's kind of safe to say, I know it's only week 14, that Cam Newton is the shoo-in now to win the NFL MVP award. No question about that. The NFC East. Washington, Dallas, and New York Giants 5-7, and with the Cowboys 4-8. This division is really terrible this year. Much worse than the NFC South. Everybody in that NFC East is still in it. And nobody knows for certainty who is going to get that division. I mean, I originally looked and thought that maybe the Giants could run the table. Apparently, they're falling apart. The Eagles, despite so many things that are going on, and a lot of people in Philadelphia are calling for Chip Kelly's head, they're still in it. Washington now jumps in, even though they're currently leading the division right now. But really, I mean, with terrible records like this, and it's unbelievable they're going to be hosting a home game in the playoffs. And really, as I look at what else is happening in the NFC, I think I'm kind of going to... It's going to be tough down the stretch to see what will happen between Green Bay and Minnesota in the NFC North. I mean, all logic says that Green Bay will pretty much clinch the division, even if it comes down to the final week of the regular season between these two teams, because these two teams will meet in that last game. That will pretty much determine who will host the home game in the wild card, and pretty much who's going to be the wild card. And looking at the way it's going right now, I mean, as I stated before, if the Panthers should lose a game, I probably think they should lose a game now because there's going to be a ton of distraction in terms of, trying to catch that perfect season. That's what killed the Patriots in 2007. And with the Patriots now losing 2 games in a row and all that, I think their main focus right now is to just get in the playoffs and wreak havoc. Now, I know a lot of the experts are saying that the Steelers, you don't want to play them in the playoffs. But in all honesty, I don't know if this team's kind of not complete. And if they run into the Patriots have their number, in all honesty. Anyways, enough about Week 13. Let's talk about Week 14, shall we? All right. This is going to be a very tough 4 key game picks looking at the schedule because all of it now relates to either for the division lead or trying to stay within the wild card hunt. These are tough games to pick, but believe me, these are hard ones to pick, and I'm not going to speculate to see these are guaranteed picks, but this is what I'm going to talk about. All right, let's talk about key game number 1. The Vikings against the Cardinals, the Thursday night game. This game could not be any more important to both these teams. Well, actually more to Minnesota to keep pace with the Packers for the NFC North Division. Now, as far as the wild card goes, I don't think they can do any worse than probably getting the 6th seed. But for Minnesota, you still want a chance to beat Green Bay to get a home game in the playoffs. Arizona right now, they're still in pretty good shape. I don't see any possible threats in the standings in the NFC conference because Green Bay right now is with a record of 8-4. I don't really see much damage if Arizona were to lose this game. Now, keys for Minnesota, you basically keep Adrian Peterson running the ball effectively. Teddy Bridgewater, he really needs to protect himself because last week's game against Seattle, he was pretty beat up. And they got blown out in that game. So if Teddy Bridgewater really needs to keep himself healthy if the Vikings want a chance to keep within that. This is a tough one here. The Cardinals are a 7.5-point favorite. Probably should be a lot lower. It probably should be much lower than that, but that's what the current odds I have at the moment as I write down on this paper. Tough to say who wins this game here. Arizona's offense, they didn't really do all that well last week, but it was enough for them to get the victory against the Rams. But this is going to be a tight game, no question about it. I see this game being tight all the way here. Expect a close game, but I'll go with the Arizona Cardinals. I'll go with the Cardinals in a squeaker here. The Cardinals still have a very good offense, but I know there are some injuries that they're catching up to the Cardinals team. But I think they had a pretty good home record all year, and I pretty much still see that happening in this game. Minnesota really is going to have to keep pace with their offense here, and I expect a shootout here. I think this is going to be a back and forth affair. But I'll take Arizona in this one. That odds number should be a little bit lower, but I think it'll probably be lower by the end of the week. But we'll wait and see. But I'll go with the Cardinals here to beat the Vikings. Cardinals over the Vikings. Key game number 2, the Steelers against the Bengals. Their second meeting of the regular season. The Cincinnati beat them earlier in the season in Pittsburgh. Cincinnati is a 3-point favorite. As a lot of the football experts saying, Pittsburgh is a team you don't want to face in the playoffs. Cincinnati already beat them already during the regular season, and I don't see much change to expect. I know the Steelers put up nearly 40 points on the Colts, but you're facing a divisional opponent, and they've already beaten you twice, and they already beaten you earlier in the season. And you had a tough time against and Pittsburgh's defense had a tough time with Cincinnati's offense. This game is going to be a little bit more tighter for sure. I see that to expect. Ben Roethlisberger is going to have to really put up some big numbers and give points for Pittsburgh. I expect this is another game I probably more or less expect to be a shootout in Cincinnati. But Cincinnati's offense is just a tad better than Pittsburgh's. And I say a tad because Pittsburgh's offense is it can keep up with Cincinnati. But I think Cincinnati's defense will definitely need to be more prepared, and I think Pittsburgh's offense will be much better than they were the first meeting in this game. But I'm still going to go with the Cincinnati Bengals here. I think the Bengals offense is just a tad better than Pittsburgh's here. Pittsburgh's still struggling in the running game, and Ben Roethlisberger has been doing so much throwing the ball in the air. I mean, Cincinnati's defense I think will be pretty ready for that, but I expect this game to be a very close game here. Probably more or less might be a shootout in this one as well, but I'll take Cincinnati in this one. Cincinnati's offense is just a little bit better than Pittsburgh's. So, Bengals over the Steelers. Key game number 3, the Redskins at the Bears. This game is importance more to the Redskins now. The Bears basically shot themselves in the foot last week against the 49ers. You lose in overtime, and now your playoff hopes are dwindling. So, for Washington's sake right now, it's only to. I mean, I know they have a bad record at the moment, but they're still hanging on to that NFC East division. But for Chicago here, they haven't been officially eliminated yet. The Bears' record right now is 5-7. They're kind of still in it. They're kind of still in it for a wild card spot, but it's basically they need a lot of help. And this is a game the Bears have to have, or else you could pretty much wrap up their season right there if they lose this game here. Now for Washington and the Redskins right now, for Kirk Cousins, I know their offense struggled last week against the Cowboys and losing in a heartbreaker in overtime against the Cowboys. At the last minute in the fourth quarter. Sorry about that. I think their offense should be more ready for this one here, but this is another game I expect it to be close. No question about it. This will be a very, very tight game. But I'll go with the Washington Redskins here by maybe a field goal. There's no question both offense are evenly matched. I know the Bears have more of the running game, but Washington's pass game is just a little bit better than the Bears, because Jay Cutler right now, he's kind of struggling again, which really was you would think that, after coming off a big win against the Packers and you lose to the Niners, I mean, that's really not getting it done here. And especially with your offense struggling. So no question about it. I'm going to go with the Redskins here. I think the Redskins will win probably more or less by a field goal. It'll be a very close game. Redskins over the Bears. And finally, key game number 4, the Bills at the Eagles. The lines in this game the odds lines in this game are actually even. They have it at even at the moment. There probably might be a favorite by the end of the week, but I think I'll stick with the even with the odds makers and say, yeah, I do agree that this game is pretty even. Buffalo playoff hopes are still alive. They're not that far behind right now with a record of 6. I think it's 6-6. This is a game they gotta have in order to keep pace for that wild card spot in the AFC. For the Eagles right now, it's basically the NFC East division right now. They're trying to keep pace with Washington and New York. Now, Philly coming off a big win over a battered Patriots team. Still, though, I would think that, with your you score a lot of points in that game against New England, but now you're going to have to deal with Buffalo here, which is a tad more, they are a much more healthier team. Now, I know the Bills' offense struggled, but they were able to beat the Texans last week in Buffalo. And really, right now, your playoff hopes need to be still alive in order to keep pace in one of the 2 wildcard spots in the AFC. For the Bills right now, I know that there's a lot riding on this game. I mean, their offense right now, they kind of need to get it going here. We're going to need to really score some points here. I probably would see this game probably be a shootout as well. I mean, a lot of these games that I see right now, these were tough ones and I look down the schedule, but I think to me these would be the more reasonable ones to talk about because a lot of it deals with playoff implications. For the Eagles, they just need to keep the team together right now because they seem to fall apart through Thanksgiving and the week before that when they lost to the Buccaneers. So really right now, no question this game is going to be a very, very tight game. This game will be extremely close. But I see Buffalo coming out of this game the winner here. This game's a huge toss-up. It could go either way. But I'll pick Buffalo in this one because they are a bit more healthier. I mean, the Eagles were dealing with an injured Patriots team that they were able to take advantage of new players playing different positions, and they were able to attack them. But this time now, you're dealing with the Bills' defense that is pretty good, and their offense here that really is trying to put up points. And I expect this. No question, this game is going to be very, very close here. But I'm going to pick Buffalo here because I think the reason why they're more healthy than the Patriots were last week, and but no question, this will be a back and forth affair here in this one. That's why I'm picking Buffalo in this one. Bills over the Eagles. Okay, that wraps up my picks for week number 14. Go to the sportblog.blogspot.com for all of my week 14 picks, and I will see you back here next week when I talk about my picks for week number 15. Until then, take care and enjoy your football weekend.